Okay, this is going to be short and hopefully engaging. My name is Lou, and that's what I look like. just. No, please don't laugh. And oh yeah, so 4 days a week I work here at TL Draw, and 1 day a week I work on this other stuff. And I'm gonna show you today about this other stuff. It's like this huge honor to be speaking at this same event as Kay and Matt. But yeah, I'm gonna show you how I do this. This is one of my oldest projects called Sand Pond. This is something that someone made in it. They're called Desk Toy Sam. This is another thing I made. This is called Cell Pond. It's like a cellular automata thing. Pa Louis made this. It's Game of Life in Cell Pond, which speak to me afterwards about that. It's very impressive. This is another thing I made. It's called Screen Pond, and it's all about like recursion and zooming into like infinite fractal stuff, right? And here's another one I made. And you can hear out my laptop speakers, can't you, right? And this is Aroost. This is like a music making tool. This is another thing I made. And I share my development of these on my very silly YouTube channel in this long series called The Sand Pond Saga. And I start every single video by saying, welcome back to the Sand Pond Saga. And I've been doing it, let's see, someone asked this earlier. This screenshot is a year old, so it's been 6 years now, right? I've been doing this for 6 years. There were quite a lot of them at the start, but over time, it's sort of it's gradually changed into something different. And it's ended up like being this slightly, I don't even know where it's gone really, but it's gone somewhere slightly confusing. If you don't want to watch all 38 episodes, don't worry. I did an 8.5 hour live stream where I watched them all for you. This is me after, let's see, 6.5 hours. I also do some talks, and if you don't want to watch all my talks, then don't worry. On Saturday, I did a 9.5 hour live stream where I watched through all of those. I really wanted to get that live stream done before this talk because I know it would be even longer. So yes, this event is about how to make good developer content. Now, whether you think this talk is that or not, depends on whether you think I make good developer content or not. I can't promise you that, but I can tell you how to be ToadPond, and because I am ToadPond. And I actually, it was quite interesting. A lot of this like has just happened gradually, bit by bit. So it's been this interesting exercise for me to try and sit down, like figure out like what am I doing, you know, what's going on? And I kind of tried to boil it down to like actually what does ToadPond mean? You know, like what am I doing here? And so I'm going to show you, and I'm going to keep going until it gets too long, and then we'll just end, right? So one of the most, I think the most important parts of it all is brand. And this is how most people, I guess, first see ToadPond, is this funny little logo, right? This little red frog, and this is how the video starts. This is like my avatar in most places. And I think it's quite unusual for like tech content to have a logo like this. There are many cute mascots in the tech world, so this is kind of like that, but it's a bit different because it is kind of, it's a bit weirder. It's like not very cute. Well, it's maybe a little bit cute, but it's like it's a little bit lopsided. It's not really good logo design really, but my partner made it many years ago before I even started doing videos because and she's an animator, so these are her animations. I was making a programming language for fun, and when I was I guess introducing it to people, they didn't I don't know, they basically, it just got lost because there are so many people, it turns out, making programming languages for fun. And I needed some way to, I guess, communicate that it was a slightly jokey, unserious programming language. So my partner actually suggested the name Toad. And we went back from the pub, and she drew this toad in a very wobbly way, and it just stuck. And that language nowadays goes by a different name called Dreamird, because Toad turned into something else. Can you put your hand up if you've heard of Dreamird? All right, cool. Okay, and for those of you who haven't, here's some Dreamird. So you might know that most programming languages, they usually end with a semicolon or no semicolon. And here, I've kind of solved that problem because it ends with an exclamation mark instead, which causes a little problem because normally exclamation mark kind of is like used for inverse, like when you want to say something is not something else. So you might be thinking, what do we use for that? What do we use? We were using exclamation mark for the end of lines, so we used the semicolon for that, right? Genius. And over the years, this is a kind of developer content, I guess, this kind of humorous parody. This was, it's grown into, and Dreamird is unfortunately my most popular project. And most of Dreamird now is contributed by the open source community. This feature, the ability to delete any part of the language you don't like, including object-oriented programming. This was, of course, contributed by React core team member Dan Amberov. Anyway, so the first thing you see in my videos is these funny little characters, and because I couldn't think of anything better, and it's really stuck. Okay, that's brand. That's one thing. And another thing is I watch a lot of YouTube, and one of my favorite kind of YouTube videos is like this. It's called Unintentional ASMR. Can anyone just put up your hand because you don't need to admit it. Okay, I can see some people's faces that are just like, right. It's like very relaxing content, but it's not intentionally relaxing. So, and there's a lot of, someone's pointing at Matt here, right. All right, so I really liked watching like YouTube channels with like 10 views per video, where someone has made like hundreds of videos, and I find there's something so endearing and like loving about this. Like someone just loves the craft so much that they don't care about getting views, or maybe they do, but they're sticking to it anyway, and they're just explaining something really calmly. And I thought, I can do that. I can get no views and speak calmly. And as the videos went on, they started getting calmer. And I think this is the calmest one.
Welcome back to the Sandpond Saga.
Apart from the ribbit.
I've been making and polishing more elements for Sandpond, like ice, mice, ants, cheese, and carrots. Nearly everything is...
Okay, and so this is something that I really, really do. Like I watch a lot, and I'm just exposing some of my... I watch a lot, and I guess I really started by trying to emulate things I liked. And this is, I guess, something that I actually picked up from someone called Michael Rosen, who says, if you want to learn how to write poetry, you pick a poet that you really like, and you try and write like them. And I guess that's how I started making videos. I was trying to intentionally make videos I liked for unintentional reasons. You know what I mean? Like intentional, unintentional ASMR. Anyway, and what I did is I repeated this like many, many times. And I started by doing one new video every week. And it just happens like when you do something again and again and again, you can't help it, but it's gonna change and you're gonna learn things. You know what I mean? Right? And actually, I think viewers started to like the repetition too. Like they started expecting certain things each time. Like I always start by saying like, welcome back to someone, right? And you get this dynamic where your viewers are expecting one thing, but then you can like give them something completely different, right? And create these funny moments. And this has really been how the weirdness has happened, is that I've been able to like set a bar, set some expectations, and then like 1 year later, like change it. And so repetition is really important to me, I think, in all content, because it's about like establishing expectations over a long period of time, sometimes like 9.5 hours, right? But this idea of repetition has really like bled into the videos in other ways, usually through recursion, like through going inside things in other things. And for me, like recursion like this continues to be one of the most mind-blowing parts of, I guess, programming, right? Like the ability to define something in an abstract way that doesn't make sense in the physical world. And I think that it's magic to me. And over the years, I've been able to, I guess, explore this idea of recursion in more and more ways. So for example, this person is called Theo, and they did a reaction video to one of my videos, and it gave them a copyright strike. Sorry, Theo. And so then I decided to do a reaction to that reaction video. But then, because I really love recursion, I did a reaction to my reaction video. And then I did another one. And bear in mind, every time you react, you often pause, right? When you're doing a reaction video, so this was getting exponentially longer each time. And this, I think, is after 3 hours. I put on the frog onesie anyway, and then I did another one, yeah, and then I just kept, and this was quite a day, and the viewers named each one, each version of me, including the first one, Theo Lou, which was just Theo, and this idea of like live streaming as a way of doing recursion is something that I'm now doing in clubs to use this delay feedback loop to make music, and that's another thing, right? So repetition is really important for me. Another thing that's really important for me is feelings, and because I think when I'm trying to share, I guess, my development of these tools, sure, some of it is like sharing the information, here's how it works, here's what it does, here's what you can do with it, here's how you can get started. But some of it is like sharing how I feel about it. Like I see so many explanations of cellular automata on YouTube, and I find them usually pretty dry. But for me, I find it mind-blowing. And so I think I need my visuals to kind of
so far,
mirror that.
Just used one
and
first a square, then a rectangle.
So I guess I've sort of got known for these kind of weird, zoomy, inny-outy things, because I guess that's how I'm picturing it in my head, But there's more than that. It's about like when I've finished developing something and I've put it out into the world, I also get some feelings about that. So like sometimes I get good responses, sometimes I get bad responses,
Oh, bird!
and
not again. It looks like Slackman's already did this.
So if I'm trying to share that,
did a much better job too. Don't worry. Let's make something different. Let's make something new.
So I think like sharing a development process, is also about like sharing the whole part, because I don't know if you knew this, but like for another week or so, all developers are human, right? This might change with new technologies, but most developers are humans, right? And so everyone like feels something. You feel attached to the things you make. You feel the highs and lows. And I guess this video was my first video that actually got like a substantial number of viewers, and it was kind of about negative feelings that I get through development. And that was really interesting to me, to see that people kind of like, I enjoyed seeing like anger represented. And you had this like tantrum of this little character at the end, and that went and crossed out everything, and crossed out all my credits, and even crossed out the patrons, and crossed out my partner's name as well, very carefully in the credits. And so I found that very interesting. You know, like as time went on, I guess, you know, like developing these things and sharing my projects and my code, the feelings that I have when I'm doing it are about more than just the code. You know, like in a way, like it feels kind of profound to me, right? Like I'm able to, I guess, have this connection with lots of other people throughout the world through these really stupid videos I make. And even if they're stupid, you know, it feels important to me. And so in this video, I like had in my like plans, you know, like then this trippy visual sequence happens. That was in the script, you know. And it was really hard for me to figure out how to make it feel profound and meaningful. And I realized, like after a few iterations, actually the easiest thing for me was to just genuinely make it profound and meaningful. And all of this imagery means something to me, and no one knows what it means, unless except for the people who watch the 8.5-hour live stream. But people seem to really like it, you know. And in some ways it's very silly, but in some ways it was much easier to make it genuinely profound than to fake profoundness. So feelings are important. I'm going to speed up to close to the ending. Obviously, story. The story is I guess something that has emerged throughout these videos. There are these little silly characters that and there's like an ongoing story between different videos. But really, and here's a little storyboard I made for the next video. This is spoilers. And this is my pacing diagram for it. I gave this to the person who's made the audio, and they did a good job. So, of course, there's the story of these little characters, but that's not really the story I'm sharing when I make these videos. The real story I'm sharing is like my personal story. You know, this has gone over many, many, many years. I guess I could have like cut the series and started a new one, but I've stuck with it. And like even the name of the series has changed. So this is the first title card, and this is the most recent title. Can you see the differences? Right? Do you see how blobby that looks? That was because it was done after the pub, whereas this is a cleaned up version, right? So really, it's a way for me to share my progression into like the development world with viewers. I guess the other thing that I have learned a lot from working here at TL Draw is, I guess, the value of being very open with what I share. You know, like Steve was mentioning earlier, like I guess TL Draw was kind of built with this build in public style, and through being here every day, I've, I guess, absorbed a lot of that culture too. So now everything I do is completely open. So when I'm starting a new project, you know, the first thing I do is I make a repo and it's empty. And sometimes people discover these empty repos and like submit an issue before anything has happened, saying it doesn't work. And this is a fun moment because, you know, like I get to reveal, like, no, genuinely, yeah, no, everything I do is now completely public and open. And, you know, yeah, like a lot of that is what I've learned from working here. I think this is a tweet that we put out over the TL Draw Twitter account that went exceptionally viral a year or so ago. And I remember Steve was telling me, like, you know, I guess like when I put out a tweet, I'm often trying to like impress people, you know, like I'm trying to impress people, I'm trying to show off, I'm trying to look cool. But actually, Steve was encouraging me to just openly share like what was going through my mind. as we were experimenting with new ways of using Teal Draw. And what was genuinely going through with my mind was, I cannot believe that this works, right? And this is one of the those early tweets that people responded well to, and that was like a huge learning point for me, that people want to know like what's really going on with me, like, and I should be more open about it. And now I won't shut up about it. And I go, and this is me like giving a keynote about openness. And so yeah, I've really taken that forward. I will say the final thing that's really important to me is reward. Like there are some, so I have smaller audiences than the other speakers today, but there are some members of that audience who are extremely into it, which I try to reward. Like I think whenever I'm like a fan of something, I can get completely absorbed in it, right? Like, and I want to learn as much as I possibly can about it. And sometimes I'm left wanting more. And what I try and do is leave little trails of like hints and things for people who want to go the extra mile, and try and reward that I guess like obsession, which is maybe a bit toxic. I don't know. So there are some people in the world who know what all of these things are referencing, right? These are all like, if you know what all of these are, then I will give you like 500 stickers, right? And take you out to dinner. So, and this is my final slide. I think the final, I guess the cornerstone of Toad Pond is chaos. So if you have, who has a phone? All right, if you have a phone, then you can go to twirl.live, and this is something that I'm experimenting more with recently. Is that I'm trying to be even more open in the sense that I will try and let people like edit. Oh, right, edit what's on my screen as I'm presenting it, but that's something that's very new. I'll just zoom out. So yeah. Wow, that's a lot of cursors. And that's the end. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Keep that microphone.
Oh.
That was pretty entertaining, right? Look at hell yeah, though. Questions? Go for it. I was about to fill the blanks. Go for it.
James.
I was just going to say, when you were saying that what you were posting didn't initially feel very cool on that tweet from the Teal Draw account, I went, that's the coolest thing I could ever think of. It sort of changed my perspective of, well, actually, maybe just being, how much about just you being you is the bit that people like.
Right.
It's not really the question.
Yeah. I mean, okay. I guess like that specific tweet. I think we could have written probably anything, and it would have got some attention, right? But I guess there's like the real question is like, are you going to post it or not? I think that's the bigger thing. Like what do I have do I have an angle? Do I have a point? Versus actually no, I'm going to keep this saved up and maybe share it internally, and then it will just not get shared full stop. I think I think the real mistake that I have made in the past, and I see lots of other people make, is to think that their half-made thing is not worth sharing. I think that's what people really like seeing, and that's something that I've definitely picked up from working here. Yeah.
Go for it.
On one of the slides you showed, I think it was the pace of a video
yes.
in a Teal Draw. And I'm wondering, is there like any form of automation or automated transform that you'll be able to do that sort of diagram?
No, this was me. On a. I was having a video call with the person who was making the music for the next video, and explaining like the kind of different highs and lows of the video. And I guess I drew this line whilst talking, so it made a lot of sense. But then afterwards, I looked back at it and I was like, holy shit, what is this video? And in fact, it's actually become a lot weirder now. If I wait, here we go. I can show you. This is actually the old version. Where's Google Chrome? Here it is. Oh, we're full screen. Teal. If you want spoilers, go to that address. So this is the new pace. The video's got a bit longer, and you can see this is not made up. This is genuine. You can see these numbers to show different parts. Yeah.
It really is meticulously planned out.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. This will maybe take another 50 years to finish this video, but I've been working on it for over a year now. Yeah. Yeah, Teal Draw is pretty fun for this sort of stuff. Yeah.
That's what I showed up for.
Yeah.
Sick. All right. Thank you, Lou.
Thank you.
Teal Draw.